Welcome to the Generations Quick Tutorial on feathering. With this tutorial, we're going to talk about feathering on complex fills and feathering on satin fills. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to use a punch tool called Punch Ring. Place my cursor over it, left click to select, and when I select it, over on the left hand side on my properties, I'm going to change the stitch type from Auto Judge to a satin stitch. Left click to select satin. I'm also going to change the color by left clicking on the color button and then left clicking on the three dots, and we're going to change it to orange. Press OK. The reason I'm changing it to orange is just because it's a lot easier to see on screen. So with this tool, I'm going to place my cursor in the upper left hand side and left click hold and drag to the lower right hand side. Usually with these tools, I want to start in one area and drag in the opposite direction. I'll let go of my left click to set it, and then I have two control points that I can play with. As I place my cursor over the control points, those control points turn into an extended crosshair. So what I'm going to do is, as I get one of these extended crosshairs, I will left click hold and drag to change the control point. We're just going to do a ring like a donut. And you can see with my other control point I can make it thicker or thinner. Once I'm finished with it, I'll hit enter on my keyboard. Now I am in the punch ring tool still, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the stitch type from satin to a complex fill, left click to select, and we're going to go ahead and left click hold and drag to about the same size. I let go of my left click. You can see my settings are the same, and that's because I was still in the tool and it remembered the settings from when I changed the control points. I'll hit enter on my keyboard, press escape to get out of the tool, and right click off to the side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change this view to the 3D view. So I left click on 3D to select, and you can see the difference between a satin stitch and a complex fill. A satin stitch has multiple angles, whereas a complex fill has one angle. I'm going to right click on my satin stitch area, and with it right clicked, I'm going to show you that if we do change to a satin, the satin view, or the angle view, if we click on view angle at the top, you can see that I have several handlebars going across the area. Now these handlebars are like my stitches, and my stitches follow these handlebars in that it's following the direction. So you can see on this ring right here I have multiple directions that I'm following. Whereas if I right click on this ring over here, which is my complex fill, I don't see any, and that's because complex fills only follow one direction in the stitching. Now if I go to View Stitch and left click on View Stitch, you can see that direction here. It's marked with a kind of like a wand. It's a red handle with a green node. With this angle, I can actually change the angle, and what we'll do here is we're going to place our cursor over the green area, that's the control point, turn it to a four-way cross. When the cursor's a four-way cross, I'm going to left click hold and drag, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring that to a 0 angle, regenerate my stitches, and you can see my stitches are going in a different direction. So with these two areas, I'm going to apply a feather stitch, and you're going to see the difference on how the feather stitch reacts to the satin stitch and to the complex fill. So I'm going to right click on the satin stitch, and with it right clicked, that means that it's selected and I'm ready to change any settings. I'll then go up to my stitch properties icon and left click on stitch properties to activate. I can also hit my space bar on my keyboard to get to those tools. You can see that the stitch type is a satin stitch, and underneath options I have the option to use a feather stitch. So I'm going to place a check mark with a left click inside of the white box, and when I place a left click it puts a check mark there, and I'm ready to go and get into those settings by clicking the Edit button. So I'll left click on Edit, and you can see that with a feathered edge, I can enable it on side A just by itself, or side B just by itself, or both. You can see here that it's denoted, side A and side B are denoted by these green and blue lines. Side A is on the outside and side B is on the inside. I'm going to left click to enable side A. I'm also going, and the positive and negative ranges are 4 and 4, meaning that it's going to positively feather or have a jagged edge 4 millimeters and negative 4 millimeters. We will not enable a pattern, we'll just leave that blank for now. We'll press OK and OK again, and when we do that you can see that we have feathering on the one side. And the reason is because we have the angles in a satin stitch. If we go to our view angle again, all these angles, the green nodes on the outside, that's side A, and then the green nodes on the inside are side B. So if you think of it in angle terms, as we go to the stitch view and I right click here, side A is going to be one side of the angle on this complex fill, and side B is going to be the other side of the angle. Now side A is going to be the side that has no green dot. So it's going to feather on the left hand side of this design, and that's because of the way that our angle is headed right now. It's at a 0 degree angle. Now side B will be on the right hand side. Now it'll be on the interior and the exterior, whereas on the satin stitch it was only on the exterior, and that's because all the angles had the one side on the exterior and the other side on the interior. So let's, while this is selected, we'll go to the property settings, we'll use the feather stitch, we'll hit Edit, we'll enable the feathering on side A, we'll leave everything the same so we're not changing anything, press OK and OK again, and you'll see that the feathering is just on the left hand side of those areas. I'll right click off to the side to deselect. So you can see the big difference between the two is that this kind of goes on the outside of the design and this goes on the left hand side because of the way the angles are going.